A long 26-race journey is about to come to an end, only to begin a brand new journey as 16 drivers will begin a 10-race journey to try and become the Season 4 Hersheys Cup Series champion. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Seth Cole, and we are here live at M&Ms Super Speedway as we get ready to find out who will be the drivers that will take part in an elimination-style 16-driver chase for the championship. Here in Season 4, we are at M&Ms Super Speedway, the high-banked wildcard super speedway that we always seem to come to, and I don't know what it is about this racetrack, but you can never officially, in your mind, say, okay, these guys are going to be in the chase for the championship. I know this for certain, until the checkered flag waves. It's always a surprise when it comes down to the wire. And here today, I'm expecting no less. Now, I will say there are 11 drivers, actually no, there are 13 drivers, they're telling me, that are locked into the chase for the championship, regardless of what happens here today at this race, due to the fact that this is our only final race of the regular season. These drivers include 3-time winner Dylan Poteet, 2-time winner James McLeod, and then single-time winners Anthony McCrory, John Arndt, Trent Dunham, Matt Haas, Sean Galligan, Charles Sanford, Garrett Sidner, as well as Cody Lamas, Jake Baskinger, Jessica Shelton, last week's winner Emmanuel Hartnett at DuQuoin, and JT Bryant. Regardless of what happens today, if they DNF, doesn't matter. They are far enough ahead of that 30th position in the points cut line, and they are currently high enough in the point standings ahead of other drivers. They cannot drop out of the lowest of the race winners this season and miss out on the chase for the championship. There are a couple of drivers, though, that there are question marks about. So basically, coming into this race, theoretically, the final 3 spots in the chase for the championship are up for grabs. Let's get the command and fill you in on the rest.
Drivers, start your engine!
And just an important fact, you notice up here at the front of the field, Jake Baskinger and Cody Lamas are 2 of those drivers I mentioned. They're starting on the front row. Obviously, both would love to be able to pick up a second win this season, get themselves more bonus points once the chase field is reset after the checkered flag waves here today at M&Ms Super Speedway. Now, here's the question mark drivers, and this is the reason that they're question mark drivers. Benjamin Miles, he is currently a question mark driver. He's 25th in the point standings. He comes into this race currently with as I'm doing calculations really quickly in my head, a 29-point advantage over 30th in the standings. He basically needs a top 15 run today. He'll be locked in. Johnny Gardner, same deal for him. He is a little bit more in a danger zone as he's 19 points ahead of the cut line, that 30th in the standings. He could do better with a top 10 run today to lock himself up a spot. But then there's a couple of drivers that it's kind of a bit of a wild card. You got Kyle Matthews, 29th in points. He needs a good run today if he's going to defend his title. If he falls outside the top 30 in the points after the checker flag waves today, doesn't matter. That win counts for nothing. He does not make it into the chase and get a chance to defend his title. And then there's a couple of drivers that are outside the top 30 in the points, Joseph Srigley being one. We've already talked about last week how he mathematically can't get back into the top 30 in the points, but one driver can, and that is Leon Alvarez, a 2-time winner of the season and rolling off from 7th here today. If he can get himself up here towards the front, if he can get himself stage points, and if he can maybe pick up his 3rd win of the season, he could be able to get one of those spots. Right now, those final 3 spots in the point standings for the chase for the championship are held by Miles, Gardner, and Matthews. Matthews also needs to hope that no driver ahead of him in point standings goes to victory lane for their first time this season. That automatically drops him from the 16th slot down to 17th and out of the chase for the championship. We also saw that the field really spread out, and that's the reason why John Arndt issues on the start. Now, the good news for John Arndt is the fact that he's locked into the chase, so he can afford a bad finish here today, but obviously he would have loved to have finished out the regular season strong. As the green flag is out, we are underway here at M&Ms Super Speedway. 34 laps of racing. The racing today going to be done in 3 stages, 10, 10, and 14. Look at this. This is what Matthews does not want to see. A driver this season that has not been to victory lane, that's running well in the point standings, out in front, showing the way with an opportunity to win. Brooke Allen, the rookie, out in front. Let me go through the list of drivers that Kyle Matthews does not want to see go to victory lane here today, because it would take away his chase position. Those drivers include, as I'm going to try and shuffle through the field and look at my other screen at the same time as Cody Lamas goes to the lead. These drivers would include the following. We got trouble. Well, I'm going to probably be able to tell you guys under caution anyway, because the yellow flag is out. Wrecked there out of turn number 4. Caution for the first time here today, and that did not take long. And you gotta wonder, did it involve any of those drivers we mentioned that were kind of on the borderline, like Benjamin Miles, Johnny Gardner, or Kyle Matthews? Almost makes me nervous to go back and look. Well, here goes nothing. Let's see who was involved. Well, Leon Alvarez is on pit road, so there goes his hopes of making the chase. Joseph Strigley was in it. Kyle Matthews. He might have gotten a piece of it. Not a lot of damage, though, on the Kings Island Chevrolet. And I don't know if Benjamin Miles, Cole Baker, Emmanuel Hartnett, and Keith Batson were involved, or if they just slowed up to miss the wreck. So it looks like, for the most part, 3 drivers, potentially. One of which had a shot with a win to get into the chase, but doesn't look like that'll happen for Alvarez. And we got to find out how bad the damage is on Kyle Matthews, because that could have been a very bad thing for Kyle Matthews very early on in this race. So we will step aside, take a look at a replay, the incident out of turn 4, and then we'll come back and try and fill you on the rest of the chase scenarios coming into this race. Well, here it was. Contact between the 42 of Blaine Keys and the 24 of Joseph Strigley sends him up into Matthews, up into Alvarez. So Matthews did get quite a chunk of that. Oh, Johnny Gardner got a big hit from that as well. In the 26, he gets sent down to the inside wall. Keith Batson, wow, nice job for him to miss. Gardner, I think, hit that inside wall pretty hard. Leon Alvarez's car hard on the brakes, but I think that car had already lost power. You can see a big plume of black smoke trailing behind the Aaron's Dream Machine, so doesn't look like that entry out of CJ Racing will be in the chase. It's a wonder none of these drivers hit that pit wall. Johnny Gardner, though, let's take a look and see how hard a lick he took. And remember, that's one of those question mark drivers. He came in not exactly that safe. 19 points ahead of that 30th in the standings cut line. And it may actually be on between him and Kyle Matthews potentially for that final transfer spot in the chase for the championship if we don't have another first-time winner. Boy, that was a pretty hard hit. And Gardner's car directed straight towards that inside safer barrier. Fortunately, there is a safer barrier there. Pretty heavy contact there with the right front as well as the right rear. And while I think Gardner might be able to continue, the problem that I see is potentially, however hard that impact might have been, for both him and Matthews, will they be up to speed when we go back to green flag racing? So that's what brought out the caution for the first time here today. We didn't even really get to complete the first lap. They came to the caution flag with an incident out of turn 4 on the very first lap of this race. And it sets up this chase scenario even closer than what we originally thought it was going to be. Well, I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's if you come into this race locked into the chase for the championship, mechanical problems are going to plague you, because we already saw John Arndt out of the race due to a piston problem. He never even got to take the green. He got his engine expiring on the pace lap, and now 3-time winner Dylan Poteet is out of the race due to a camshaft issue. So second, and I put this in quotes because he is a future chase driver, out of the race. And the 2 drivers out of the race after the incident are Leon Alvarez and Johnny Gardner. Now this is huge because with Gardner out of the race, Kyle Matthews could potentially lock himself into the chase for the championship, but he has to finish this race higher than 15th in this running order. Can he fight his way up to 15th? We'll have to find out. Things that don't look good for him, though, is the fact that Levi McIntyre, who is not going to victory lane yet this season, he stayed out. A number of drivers decided to pit, and McIntyre will lead us back to the green flag. So right now, Benjamin Miles and Cody Lamas, Garrett Sidner, they are Kyle Matthews' best friends right now. He wants to see a repeat winner go to victory lane here today. We'll have to keep tabs on that 09 and see if he is up to speed as well as we get ready to go back green. Nathan Hudson lines up 5th. Tim Walsh, Dylan Young, Joshua Michaels, Trent Dunham, and Blaine Keys. That is your top 10. Half of the drivers restarting the top 10 still looking for their first win of the season. And you're going to see some hard battling between Lamas and Sidner and Miles and Dunham. They're locked into the chase, but they're going to battle hard because they want another trip to victory lane, so that way they get another 3 bonus points for that victory towards the reformatted chase points. And I think Levi McIntyre could very well be looking for the green and white checkered flags to complete the first stage, which will be in about 3.5 laps. Gonna have a teammate momentarily here too. Whoa, Charles Sanford! What a run he got down the back straightaway with help from Matt Haas, Caitlin Sang. That car had to be going about 15 to 20 miles per hour faster than McIntyre. They just blew by the 99. Charles Sanford, like a bat out of you-know-where, to the front of the field. Oh my goodness, there's a car in the grass back there, and it's Kat Tellier trying to get herself up there to the front by any means possible. Sanford in the lead. Caitlin Sang now moves to second. Anthony McCrory there in third. Brandon Gonzalez and Tim Walsh there in fourth and fifth. That inside line slingshot. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it again like Sanford was able to do, but man, McCrory's going to go to second. Now they'll battle for third, and here comes Trent Dunham as well there in the one car. So you got Sanford and Dunham and McCrory. We know they're all going to be battling for the championship. They're all going to be battling each other here as well, and I think that was that Sean Galligan? Yes, it was. That was the 44 there as well, getting up here towards the front of the field. Here comes Brandon Gonzalez. Big run on the bottom. Can he make it 3 wide for the lead going into 1? You bet he can, and he's going to take the race lead going into turn 1 here with help from a couple of Fords. Dylan Young in the 2 and Sean Galligan in the 44. Now we're going to jump to the back. Oh, Jake Baskinger, it looks like he lost the draft. We're going to try and find the 09. There is Matthews. He is up to speed. So he didn't get a whole lot of damage from that wreck, and he is trying to make some forward progress here in that Kings Island Chevrolet. Now, the reason that we're keeping an eye on him is he's got to work his way up into the top 15 to then put Johnny Gardner on the bubble spot of missing the chase if we have a first-time winner go to victory lane here today. Matthews trying to make forward progress. We'll see where he crossed last time in 27th. This time by, he will put his Kings Island Chevrolet on the leaderboard in the 18th spot. He picked up 9 spots, and he's picking up more. He is quickly closing in to the top 15. So things looking good for the defending champion. Meanwhile, at the front, lead change. Anthony McCrory to the front. Brandon Gonzalez, his good buddy there in second. But right here you got a kind of cornucopia of drivers that have won this season and drivers that haven't. Drivers that are locked in and drivers that aren't. You got McCrory, Sanford, Dunham, Shelton, Galligan. They're all up here. They've been to victory lane. But you got Gonzalez, Walsh, Young, Hudson, Brooke Allen. They're all looking to get into the chase with a win. And the thing I should mention, too, that drivers like Johnny Gardner and Kyle Matthews that are looking at that they don't want to find victory lane, get their first win of the season, now that we have a bit of a green flag run for me to be able to go down that list and get the opportunity to tell you, include the following. We already mentioned Levi McIntyre, Zachary Fitzwater, Kat Tellier, Joshua Michaels, Nathan Hudson, Brandon Gonzalez, Brooke Allen, Cole Baker, Dallas McIntosh, Keith Batson, Dylan Young, and Tim Walsh. They need them not to go to victory lane. Chris Dodd is also mathematically eligible. If he can find victory lane, he could also put himself up into the picture, the Season 2 champion. How cool would that be if Chris... I'm not playing favorites here, but how cool would it be if Matthews is able to get in mathematically and Chris Dodd goes to victory lane and he gets in? That would be the first time, I believe, that we would have all of the former champions with an opportunity of winning their second championship. Because if you think back, Anthony McCrory didn't make the chase last season. Only Kyle Matthews did, and he obviously won the championship there. Chris Dodd didn't make the championship last season either. And Chris Dodd also didn't make the championship, as I mentioned, back in Season 3. So we have yet to have a season where the defending champions have a shot of winning. McCrory might have actually been in the chase back in Season 2 after winning the championship in Season 1, so I might be incorrect in that. But, just saying, it would be cool to have all 3 of the former Hershey's Cup Series champions in the chase with a chance of winning their second. Take a look at Retro Racing Enterprises. You gotta wonder, are Charles Sanford and Jessica Shelton gonna help Kyle Matthews? I have a feeling they are, because Shelton has helped push Kyle Matthews up here into the top 10. Matthews is gonna cross the line now in the 5th position, and he's got Sanford ahead of him. He's got Shelton behind him. Retro Racing Enterprises have a team-oriented strategy going on right here to try and get their buddy, the defending champion Kyle Matthews, into this chase. Last season, Charles Sanford was not in the chase for the championship. Both of his teammates, Shelton and Matthews, were. One season before that, in Season 2, all three of the Retro Racing Enterprises cars were in the chase for the championship. They would love to be able to do it for the second time in their Hersheys Cup Series career, get all three of their cars in the championship hunt, have an opportunity to give Retro Racing Enterprises their second straight championship in Seasons 3 and 4. And with where Kyle Matthews is running right now, Johnny Gardner is in danger. He's in that danger zone in that final position in the point standings with a win. If Brandon Gonzalez were to go to victory lane, Gardner would be out, Gonzalez would be in. You've got a lot of other candidates up here as well that could knock Gardner out of the chase and move themselves in. Dylan Young, Keith Batson, Tim Walsh, they're all up here. Whoa, Caitlin sang through the grass. They saw the slower car there of Joseph Srigley, and Srigley's holding up some drivers. One of those drivers is Kyle Matthews. Matthews, Walsh, Gonzalez all held up on that outside line. Meanwhile, we move back to the front, and new leader, Brooke Allen in the 3. And again, we're having some faces pop up here, trying to pick up their first win. We mentioned Hudson. Here comes Dallas McIntosh in the 14. Former chaser last season, would love to be back in the chase this season. He's going to go for second on Hudson. Trent Dunham right there as well in the 1. He's locked into the chase, and his teammate is that 14 of Dallas McIntosh. Would he be willing to push him to the race lead, potentially to the win, in order to get him into the chase for the championship? Their third teammate's not too far back, the 42 of Blaine Keys. He's also looking for his first win of the season, and he was in the chase last season as well. They weren't all teammates last year. It was Blaine Keys and Trent Dunham who were teammates, and then Dallas McIntosh came on as their third driver here in Season 4, but they're all teammates now, and all were in the chase last season. Right now, the only one locked into the chase this season is the 1 car. Take a look who else is making some bold moves back there. A guy who found victory lane for only the third time in his Hersheys Cup Series career. First time this season last week at the dirt track of DuQuoin. Emmanuel Hartnett right there, working with Zach Flickinger. Hartnett going to be one of 2 Toyotas currently locked into the chase for the championship this season. The other being the 78 of Matt Haas, who's also having a good run. Not too far up ahead there. There he is. Right behind Caitlin Sang. Anthony McCrory to the point. Dallas McIntosh there in second. If it comes down between who wants this win more, I guarantee you the percentage margin is in the majority of Dallas McIntosh's camp. McCrory is already locked into the chase. He came into this race as the points leader by 8 points over John Arndt. Point standings really aren't going to matter after this race because they all get reformatted with the 16 drivers getting into the chase with the championship. So we didn't really focus that much on who came in where based on points. Again, another reason why we didn't focus on it is because 16 drivers coming into this race in those 16 slots in the chase for the championship were all former race winners this season. So it wasn't looking like this chase is going to come down to points at all. As now McIntosh to the lead, but here's Hudson behind him. So you got the Sega Motorsports Chevrolet, the Michael Norman Motorsports Chevrolet. They're both nose to tail, both looking for their first win of the season. At this point, Sega Motorsports already has a driver locked into the chase, that being Trent Dunham. Oh, Kyle Matthews through the grass there with Tim Walsh throwing a block on him. However, Michael Norman Motorsports does not have a driver yet locked into the chase for the championship. The 16, the 15, and the 3 have all been up here at the front at certain portions of this race. One of them would love to be able to get a last-minute win and get themselves into the chase. Michael Norman had 2 wins last season that got him into the chase for the championship, and if memory serves me correctly, he also won one of the chase races as well. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm going to take a look and find out. Pretty sure he was a 3-time winner. No, only a 2-time winner. My apologies. And the 2 wins both came before the chase for the championship. Sorry, I'm looking right now. Charlotte and Yas Marina Circuit. was where Norman's 2 wins came, and they were both before the chase, so he did not win during the chase for the championship. He was a 2-time winner. Charles Sanford now back out in front. And we got to jump back real quickly, get a little bit of an update on where Kyle Matthews is. There he is. Yeah, he's back up inside the top 15. So Matthews back out of the danger zone. That moves Johnny Gardner back into the danger zone once again, like I said. And Johnny Gardner out of this race is probably back in the garage area watching the TV monitors, hoping, praying that we have another repeat winner. And a couple drivers are coming to pit road, so this is going to be interesting. Nathan Hudson, Dylan Young, Blaine Keys, and Tim Walsh on pit lane as they're catching up here to some slower cars. That was Benjamin Miles in the 25, who appears to be off the pace. He apparently lost the draft, and Jake Baskinger in the 5 also appeared to have lost the draft. So, tough break for both those drivers. The good news for Benjamin Miles, though, is the fact that Johnny Gardner is out of this race, so Miles is going to be locked into the chase for the championship. He had a 29-point advantage over Kyle Matthews, which means that Miles now also being ahead of Johnny Gardner in points means that he would, I think, theoretically get either the 15th or 16th slot in the chase for the championship. So he's going to make the chase regardless. And everybody else is coming to pit road this lap. Maybe, well, hang on. Just a thought here. Maybe Benjamin Miles came to pit road a lap earlier than these guys, and that's why he got trapped a lap down there for a moment. Who knows? Maybe this will cycle around. But let's actually follow that 25. Let's see if he actually did lose the draft, or if he's going to have to pit this time, or did he come to pit road earlier than everybody else, and he's going to cycle around with the lead pack. Pole sitter Jake Baskinger right there with him. The way things are situated, the way things are running, both these drivers, they'll be battling for the championship. And that's got to be a great feeling for Benjamin Miles, because you think back to last season, had a win, and he's going to stay out. So I think Miles may have pitted before everybody else did. He may have been the first car to hit pit road. But going back to what I was saying, he had a win, but then he fell outside the top 30 in the points in the final regular season race, which was here at M&M Super Speedway. And that denied him from getting into the chase for the championship. He also won a race during the chase that last year at Talladega Super Speedway. So, sweet redemption for him. He and his teammate Cody Lamas both going to be in the chase for the championship. And there you see, yeah, he's going to merge right back here with his lead group. So, it looks like Miles rolled the dice, did a little bit of short pitting, came down pit road earlier than everybody else. As I think of it now, though, these drivers are coming to pit road for what is their second time today. If you think back, there was about maybe 6 or 7 drivers who decided not to come to pit road back under our only caution. Levi McIntyre was one of them, and that's how he restarted as the race leader. If I remember correctly, I think Benjamin Miles was one of those drivers that did not come to pit road under that caution, so that would make sense. He would have come to pit road a little bit earlier than everybody else, probably about 2 to 3 laps earlier, and that would have had him in the position he was in. So, okay, so he cycles back onto the lead lap, just a little bit off the pit sequence. I don't think Baskinger is in the same boat, though. I think Baskinger is off the pace just because he's off the pace. This is the battle for the race lead. Trent Dunham led that lap, but now Jessica Shelton to the point. Keith Batson right behind her, and that is a bad news number 39 right there for Johnny Gardner, because Keith Batson, he is running really well in the point standings. He finds himself coming into this race currently situated 23rd in points, and if he goes to victory lane, he's automatically into the chase for the championship. Lincoln's still looking for their first win of their Hersheys Cup Series career as well. Dallas McIntosh up in this group as well. So out of our top 5, 2 drivers looking for their first win of the season. Batson out in front in first. Second place, Dallas McIntosh. Then you've got 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That's Dunham, Shelton, and Sanford. They're already locked into the chase. Then you got to go a ways back. This is the battle on for 6th. Gonzalez, McCrory, Blaine Keys, Caitlin Sang, and Brooke Allen. Trent, make that Tim Walsh in this group. McLeod, McIntyre, Kyle Matthews right there. He's riding in the 14th position. That's where he needs to be, so he makes the chase. And Zach Flickinger right now in that 15th spot. This second group needs to work together to catch up to this first group, but this first group is really spread out. So they may not have any trouble reeling in the top 5. We'll have to see. The gap between Shelton and Gonzalez, 5th to 6th, was about 3.8 2 seconds. No. What was it? I can't do math in my head to save my life. 3.8, I guess. Yeah, 3.8 seconds. Let's see if that gap closes up at all here. They're 3 wide for third, so that could help. Well, they were 3 wide. We'll see if the gap closes up at all. Let's see if the gap even closes up between 6th place and the race leader. About 4.5 seconds last time by. This time by, let's see what the gap is. Is that second group closing, or will we see basically the battle take place here amongst the top 5 drivers? At the line, 4.5 is decreased a little. Not by much, by about 1/10. They need these drivers up here to continue racing. They're all single file now, and that is detrimental to that second group trying to run them down. There you see Sanford stepping out of line. They need a couple more drivers to go down there. Have them race double wide. Trent's going to go down there. The more double wide racing they do, the slower this pack's going to move, and the quicker that second pack, which has more cars, will be able to reel them in. There's 6 cars in this pack. There's about maybe 8, 9 cars in this pack. Gonzalez, Walsh, Keys, McIntyre, McLeod, McCrory, Caitlin Sang, and Brooke Allen. About 8 cars in this pack, actually. Trying to keep it single file down the straightaway to close the gap, and they close it in by another 1/10. They got to close in a lot more than that, though, and a lot quicker than that. Keith Batson out in front. Now, here's the interesting thing. Charles Sanford, Trent Dunham, Jessica Shelton. They have the opportunity here. They're in line to pick up what would, for all 3 of them, be their second win of the season. However, if you're Trent Dunham, do you try helping push Dallas McIntosh to his first win? Because right now, as things stand, if we do not have a first-time winner this season go to victory lane, it's looking like Johnny Gardner would get that final transfer spot into the chase for the championship. There has to be a first-time winner. So right now, Johnny Gardner is the biggest Charles Sanford, Trent Dunham, and Jessica Shelton fan out there, hoping one of them are able to take this win away from a couple of drivers in line for getting their first win in Batson and McIntosh. Right now, Keith Batson doing a good job keeping them at bay, and I apologize for what's going on with the frames. I don't know what's happening, but doesn't really matter. Oh boy, they're catching Garrett Sidner, and this could make it interesting. Batson goes high, McIntosh goes low. Dunham's going to go with his teammate. That may have slowed this group up just enough that second group might be able to start reeling them in. And now Batson gets a big lead, and that's not a good thing here at a restrictor plate track. As next time by, when they hit the line, it's 8 laps to go. Sounds like more traffic up ahead that they'll have to deal with. But look at this. Look at McIntosh. Look at the run he's getting. Big time run down the front straightaway, and he's got his teammate helping him. McIntosh to the inside. Nothing Batson can do to stop that freight train. McIntosh will go to the race lead with a big time push from his Sega Motorsports teammate. McIntosh coming into this race, 24th in points, well ahead of that cut line of 30th in the stands. Oh, but look at this. Trent Dunham says, there you go, team. I pushed you out in front, but now you're going to have to earn this win. Trent Dunham going to go to the bottom of the racetrack. And this is interesting because you think back to our regular season finale for the Pizza Hut X Series race here last week. It was coming down to an opportunity for a teammate, James Shelley, to help his teammate Jonathan Zorlin maybe make the chase for the championship. And he went nil on that. Here you see Trent Dunham. He pushed his teammate to the race lead, but then immediately tried taking the lead and was successful from Dallas McIntosh. Another slow car up ahead they'll have to deal with. That is JT Bryant. As Dunham out ahead, but for how long? Well, he will get the race lead still, as he will drive very quickly around the outside of JT Bryant. And that gap back from 5th to 6th actually is increased a little bit the last couple of laps. So, unfortunately, it's looking like it's going to come down between our top 5 drivers. And now Trent Dunham might be in a terrible position because he's way out in front. Charles Sanford and Jessica Shelton working together there, the Retro Racing Enterprises cars. McIntosh getting held up behind the somewhat slower machine of JT Bryant. He slips back to 5th. Batson back to 4th. And, well, here comes Brandon Gonzalez. Wait a minute. It may not be over. Gonzalez may get the slipstream. This time by, They closed it up by almost 2 seconds. Oh my goodness, they're going to catch them. They are going to catch them. They are 3 wide all through here. Joseph Srigley now holding up Jake Baskinger. That's not a lead lap car, but if the second group can get by Joseph Srigley, and they will, here comes that second group with a big head of steam. This race ain't over by a long shot. Gonzalez leading the charge from 6th place. Just like that, we got a new handful of players up here for the potential race win. And Gonzalez not going to lift. Shelton tried to block. Gonzalez says no siree. Sticks the nose of his Mitsubishi Lancer down there. And just like that, Gonzalez, Sang, McIntyre, Keys, Walsh, McLeod, Allen, they're all back up here in this group. McCrory as well. Here comes Gonzalez. Big run. Contact. Blocking there between McIntyre and Walsh. How did they not wreck? And just like that, over 4 seconds back a couple of laps ago, Brandon Gonzalez to the lead. Johnny Gardner's chase hopes looking bleaker and bleaker as now more opportunities for drivers to get their first win are up here in this group. McIntyre's up in this group. Allen's now up in this group. Blaine Keys up in this group, joining McIntosh and Batson. This thing ain't over by a long shot, and we still got 4 more circuits around this 3-mile super speedway. Anything can still happen. Here comes McIntyre to the bottom. Is anybody going to go with him? He's the lone Ford up here right now. You got Mitsubishi, Chevy, Ford, Chevy, then Chevy, Lincoln. And then another Chevy completing your top 10. Look at the opportunity he got up here from Michael Norman Motorsports. Tim Walsh and Brooke Allen can work together. You've got Trent Dunham, Dallas McIntosh, and Blake. He saw him blow up! Brandon Gonzalez blows up from the race lead! Out in front, he blows up right in front of the field! Levi McIntyre goes around the outside! Inside Blaine Keys! And Gonzalez, his chase hopes, literally going up in smoke! Out in front, and the engine goes south, and now you gotta wonder, is that gonna put some worry in the minds of any of these drivers? McIntyre to the point. McLeod into second. Then Keys in third. His teammate Dunham in fourth. Right now, non-chaser, chaser, non-chaser, chaser, your top 4. But one of these two, the 99 or the 42, could be a chaser if they can lead coming back to the checkered flag. Keys steps out, no dice. Dunham steps out, no dice. Top 4 have split away as everybody else was wadded up behind the car of Brandon Gonzalez, who was trying to get his disabled Mitsubishi Lancer to pit road. 2 laps to go. Johnny Gardner's chase hopes riding on the shoulders of James McLeod and Trent Dunham. Levi McIntyre and Blaine Keys championship hopes riding on their own shoulders. McIntyre coming to this race 4th in the points. Blaine Keys coming into this race, he was 33rd in the point standings. Would he be anywhere close enough to get into the top 30 in the standings? I don't know. It would be really close for him, and he would have to be ahead of Johnny Gardner in the standings. It would be super close for that 42 car. For McIntyre, it would be a surefire thing. Look at that, almost some contact between teammates as Trent Dunham kind of left his teammate Blaine Keys out to dry on that inside line. James McLeod, how racy is he going to get with Levi McIntyre? If he makes a move, would anyone be willing to go with him? McIntyre trying to hang on. He is the most consistent driver this season without a trip to victory lane. He's got 3 more miles to do it. Keys to the bottom on McLeod. Can't make the move. McLeod drives low. McIntyre tried to throw the block, couldn't do it. There goes McLeod to the race lead. Blaine Keys, will he be able to make a move? He's going to go low. Trent Dunham's offering the drafting help. Side by side, they'll come down here into 3. McLeod up high. Blaine Keys down low. Dunham trying to push his teammate to the win. McIntyre couldn't throw the block. That may end his chase hopes. Blaine Keys to the point. Trent Dunham follows in second. Has it been enough? Did Trent push his teammate to a chase berth? We'll have to wait and see, but mission successful! Blaine Keys gets his first win of the season here at M&M Super Speedway. And now the question, did Blaine Keys, from 33rd position in points, close in enough ground on Johnny Gardner, who came in 26th in points? Stage points could be huge in answering that question here today. And Levi McIntyre, 3 miles short from a chase berth. So close yet again for that 99 car. And now the question is, who is in the final chase spot? Kyle Matthews, where did he finish? 22nd. He came into the race 19 points behind Johnny Gardner. I don't know what the distribution of points was between Blaine Keys and Kyle Matthews. I don't believe Johnny Gardner got any stage points due to the fact that he finished out of the race before the first stage was even completed. No contact there between Keith Batson and Caitlin Sang. But, oh my goodness, the calculators are going to be working as we will be trying to establish who are going to be the 16 drivers that will be battling for the championship. We already told you we knew a number of the drivers that were going to be in the chase. We know officially it's going to be Poteet, McLeod, McCrory, Arndt, Trent Dunham, Matt Haas, Sean Galligan, Charles Sanford, Garrett Sidner, Cody Lamas, Jake Baskinger, Jessica Shelton, Emmanuel Hartnett, JT Bryant, and Benjamin Miles. The question is, where are Gardner, Matthews, and our race winner Blaine Keys in relation to each other based on the points and the stage points that were earned in today's race? If I were to take a mathematical guess, I believe the final 2 chase spots will go to Kyle Matthews and Blaine Keys, but I do not have the calculator in front of me. I am not the best known for being able to do math in my head, especially with the fact that I was not really paying attention during the completion of each stage of knowing who got stage points. We have to wait for our mathematicians to be able to calculate all of that, compile it all, and see where those 3 were in the situation of getting slots 15 and 16 in this season's chase for the championship. Who would have thought it would come down to the wire like that? Unbelievable. And now we are ready to progress on our journey to find out who is going to be the Season 4 Hershey's Cup Series champion. Right now, we know 1 driver is confirmed to have a shot at being a 2-time champion, and if Kyle Matthews is able to get in, that's 2 drivers that have a shot at being a 2-time Hershey's Cup Series champion. We're going to have to, they're going to be able to rise to the occasion because there are going to be 14 other drivers that want their opportunity to have that title as well as a first-time Hershey's Cup Series champion in this series and have that title heading into Season 5. Thank you all for tuning into today's race. We hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give this video a like. Subscribe to become part of the crew today. There's a look at your full finishing results. You see Brandon Gonzalez, mechanical problem for him. Dylan Poteet and John Arndt, mechanical problems for them. A wreck, our only wreck of the day, ending the chase hopes of Leon Alvarez and maybe the chase hopes of one Johnny Gardner. But as I said, we will have to wait and see what the official results say. Up next are your rookie points as well as your overall points and your new formatted chase points, revealing the 16 drivers that will battle for this season's chase for the championship. Dylan Poteet will have the number 1 seed as the only 3-time winner of the season. James McLeod will have the number 2 seed, and then everybody else will be lined up tied from 3rd down through 16th. Our beginning of the journey for the chase for the championship for both the Pizza Hut X Series as well as the Hershey's Cup Series begin next week at the Chicagoland Speedway. You won't want to miss it. It's the first of the 3 races of the first round for the Hershey's Cup Series. The Pizza Hut X Series still kind of in limbo whether I want to do elimination races for that series or not. You'll find out if we are doing elimination races for that series at next week's race in Chicagoland. So I've still got a debate on that one, but we are having elimination races here for the Hersheys Cup Series. 1-2 finish for Sega Motorsports wasn't enough to get Blaine Keys into the chase. We'll find out. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you guys next time as you've been watching production of the NNSCRA, offline racing at its best. The chase for the Hersheys Cup Series Championship is on.